The mobile phone industry has undergone significant changes in recent years, with the introduction of new technologies and the emergence of new players in the market. One of the most significant changes in the industry has been the switch to OLED screens by Apple, which has had a profound impact on the mobile phone industry. Apple explores the impact of Apple's switch to OLED screens on the mobile phone industry, the supply chain in the mobile phone industry, the performance of leading mobile phone supply chain companies, the hardware cost of a mobile phone, and the conclusion. In addition to the improved viewing experience, OLED screens also have other benefits that have contributed to their widespread adoption in the mobile phone industry. For example, OLED screens are thinner and more flexible than LCD screens, which has allowed for the development of curved and foldable smartphones. This has been a major selling point for some manufacturers, as it has enabled them to differentiate their products from competitors. Moreover, OLED screens are also more power efficient than LCD screens, which can extend the battery life of a mobile phone. This is because OLED screens do not require a backlight, which consumes a significant amount of power in LCD screens. Instead, OLED screens emit their own light, and each pixel can be turned on or off independently. This means that when displaying dark or black images, the pixels can be turned off entirely, resulting in significant power savings. Given these advantages, it is no surprise that other mobile phone manufacturers have followed Apple's lead and adopted OLED screens in their own products. Samsung, for example, has been a leader in OLED screen technology and supplies screens to many other manufacturers, including Apple. LG and BOE are also major players in the OLED screen market, and their screens are used in many popular mobile phone models. Overall, Apple's switch to OLED screens has been a driving force in the widespread adoption of this technology in the mobile phone industry. The benefits of OLED screens in terms of viewing experience, flexibility, and power efficiency have made them a popular choice among manufacturers and consumers alike. The supply chain in the mobile phone industry is a complex and intricate web of suppliers, manufacturers, and distributors that work together to produce and distribute mobile phones. The supply chain is divided into several stages, each of which is critical to the overall success of the industry. The first stage of the supply chain is raw material suppliers. Raw material suppliers are responsible for providing the raw materials needed to produce the various components that make up a mobile phone. These raw materials include metals, plastics, and other materials that are used to produce components such as the casing, battery, and circuit boards. The second stage of the supply chain is component manufacturers. Component manufacturers are responsible for producing the various components that make up a mobile phone, including the screen, processor, memory, and camera. These components are produced in large quantities and are then sent to assembly plants for final assembly. The third stage of the supply chain is assembly and testing. Assembly plants are responsible for assembling the various components into a finished mobile phone. Once the mobile phone has been assembled, it is then subjected to rigorous testing to ensure that it meets the manufacturer's specifications. The final stage of the supply chain is distribution. Distributors are responsible for getting the finished mobile phones into the hands of consumers. This involves shipping the mobile phones to retail stores or directly to consumers through online channels. Each stage of the supply chain is critical to the overall success of the industry. Without raw material suppliers, component manufacturers would not be able to produce the components needed to make a mobile phone. Without component manufacturers, assembly plants would not be able to assemble the mobile phone. Without assembly plants, distributors would not have finished mobile phones to sell. In recent years, there has been a growing trend towards vertical integration in the mobile phone industry, with some manufacturers investing heavily in their own component production capabilities. However, even with this trend towards vertical integration, the supply chain in the mobile phone industry is still complex and requires close coordination between suppliers, manufacturers, and distributors. This coordination is critical to ensuring that mobile phones are produced efficiently and at a high level of quality. Samsung, LG, and BOE are some of the most important players in the mobile phone supply chain, and their contributions are critical to the success of the industry. Samsung, in particular, is a dominant player in the mobile phone supply chain, as it is the largest producer of OLED screens in the world. OLED screens offer a superior viewing experience, with higher color accuracy and better contrast ratios than traditional LCD screens. Samsung's OLED screens are used in many of the world's most popular mobile phones, including Samsung's own Galaxy series and Apple's iPhone. LG is another significant player in the mobile phone supply chain, as it produces OLED screens and other critical components, such as batteries and camera modules. LG's OLED screens are used in several high-end mobile phones, including the Google Pixel and the LG V series. LG also produces batteries for several mobile phone manufacturers, including Apple. BOE is a Chinese company that is rapidly emerging as a major player in the mobile phone supply chain. BOE produces OLED screens and other critical components, such as LCD screens, touch panels, and fingerprint recognition modules. BOE's OLED screens are used in several mobile phones, including Huawei's P40 series and Xiaomi's Mate 10 series. These companies are critical to the mobile phone industry because they produce critical components such as OLED screens, processors, and memory chips. Without these components, mobile phones would not be able to function properly. As a result, these companies are highly valued by mobile phone manufacturers, who rely on them to produce high-quality components that meet their specifications. In recent years, there has been a growing trend towards vertical integration in the mobile phone industry, with some manufacturers investing heavily in their own component production capabilities. However, even with this trend towards vertical integration, companies like Samsung, LG, and BOE are still critical players in the mobile phone supply chain, as they produce high-quality components at scale and at competitive prices. As a result, these companies are likely to continue to play a critical role in the mobile phone industry for years to come. The hardware cost of a mobile phone is a critical factor in determining the overall cost of the device. The hardware cost includes all the components that make up the mobile phone, including the screen, processor, memory, and camera. The cost of these components can vary significantly, depending on the manufacturer and the quality of the component. For example, OLED screens are more expensive than traditional LCD screens, and high-end processors are more expensive than budget processors. In conclusion, the mobile phone industry is a complex ecosystem of suppliers, manufacturers, and distributors that work together to produce and distribute mobile phones. Apple's switch to OLED screens has had a significant impact on the industry, as it has forced other manufacturers to invest heavily in OLED screen technology to remain competitive. Samsung, LG, and BOE are critical players in the mobile phone supply chain, and their performance is critical to the overall success of the industry. The hardware cost of a mobile phone is a significant factor in determining the overall cost of the device, and manufacturers must carefully balance the cost of the components with the overall quality of the device. Alright, so that is it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe to our channel for more content. See you guys on the next one.